Today's video, we will take a look at some settings that you can change at any given time, and I'll just help you go through your Xiaomi phone with Android 14 Hyper OS, navigate it, find these settings, and turn them off or either turn them on to help reduce battery usage and possibly reduce battery draining on your Xiaomi phone. This is the Xiaomi 13T, so if you have a Xiaomi phone or any other Xiaomi phones with Hyper OS Android 14, then most of these settings, you can find them on your phone. So we'll start off with the basics. And also, again, you don't need to do all of these. You don't want to reduce your phone's performance to minimum. And we'll start off with the battery drain check. Okay, so with your Xiaomi phone, you'll use a quick access here. Go into the settings right there by tapping that icon here. And from this section on, go down until you see battery right there. This is going to load up here. You'll see the battery checkup section right there. And as you go here, in most cases, if you have any apps running in the background that's draining, you will see some apps shown here. And of course, you'll simply just toggle that option and optimize it, and it's going to clear that out for you. You also got the suggestions section here, which will allow you to go through different options that can actually really give you some added battery life. So you can see by simply turning on the dark mode, you can tap that here and optimize it and go down the list of these here and find the one that's right for you, okay? And in some cases, you can find these individually, which I'll show you on later on. Let's go ahead and move on to the next option. So as mentioned, we have dark mode, which will greatly give you some more battery life. And to find dark mode, you can use a quick access here. It would be this toggle right here. Okay, as you tap on that, you will activate the dark mode here. And of course, this will now in return give you the darker background screen. That's what dark mode basically does. Okay, so while in the main settings of your phone, the next option you can check is the refresh rate. So as you go into it, if your phone has these different refresh rate settings that you can actually change, you can go down until you see refresh rate. Now refresh rate will be set to default for most high performing Xiaomi phones, okay? So you'll see default, and that's up to 144. That's gonna use up some battery life there. So if you want, you may wanna go down to custom. Then you can select the refresh rate and basically set them all to 60 if you want to, right? So if you do this, all the apps will be running 60. Now, if you prefer to have some 60 and some 144, switch it back to the up to 144 right there. Make sure you're under the custom option, and you'll notice this option here, apps using high refresh rate. Go ahead and tap on that one time. It's gonna load up all the apps for you, and it's gonna tell you apps using high refresh rate. And you can go down the list and turn off the ones that you just don't need to have it running that high refresh rate. So, you know, apps like these here that you will most likely not be needing that, just go ahead and turn them off, okay? And you can just go back down the list here to the very bottom section where it says apps not using high refresh rate, and then re-enable them whenever you are ready, okay? So let's go ahead and move on to the next set of settings. This next one here is using your Bluetooth and your Wi-Fi to constantly scan, which of course will be using up your battery life. So if you want to go ahead and turn these off, it is found under the location services. So use your quick access. Once again, look for that toggle here, the settings icon, and that'll take you right here into the search settings. You can go ahead and type in the words location. And as you start to type that in, you'll see these different options here. You want to go to where it says location services. Now, once you're here, you will see where it says Wi-Fi scanning and Bluetooth scanning. So tap on that here one time. You can turn that off here, and that'll, of course, reduce that battery usage with your Wi-Fi scanning constantly. And same goes for the Bluetooth scanning. Turning this off doesn't disable your Bluetooth settings, by the way. And same goes for the Wi-Fi scanning. If this is off, it doesn't turn off your Wi-Fi. Your Wi-Fi will stay on. And if you have your Bluetooth already on, it will stay on. This doesn't affect it. It just simply has apps constantly looking for Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, which in return, if that's on, that's going to use up some of your battery life. And once again, you can always come back and disable these settings, okay? Or re-enable them. Now this next one here is very similar to the Wi-Fi scanning and Bluetooth scanning, except it's the printing service. So it's going to constantly be searching for printers. Have you ever been on your Bluetooth settings and you're noticing printers nearby are shown up? This is the cause of it. So let's go ahead and dive into it, and I'll show you where to find this thing and turn it off. So not all Xiaomi phones are the same, but the best way to find this feature, use the quick access, go into the settings here. Then you want to type in the words printing in your quick search here. You'll see this show up, go to printing. And once you're here, you'll go to where it says system printing service. Now, once you dive into that, you'll notice it is searching, and you'll notice that it's been searching for a very long time. That's going to be on all the time, constantly searching for nearby printers. And in order to actually stop this from running, you can just simply turn this off. And yes, you can come back and turn this on at any given time if you need to. All right, let's move on to this next one here. May be kind of like weird, but if you do check into the location permission section, you'll find that there are some apps on your phone that are constantly trying to get accurate location, in which some of these apps just don't need to know your location. All right, so to find the permission settings for these apps that are constantly trying to get your location, here's where you can go to do this. So to find this one here, use the quick access once again. You'll go into the main settings by tapping this toggle here. Then use the search settings as the fastest way to find this here. You're gonna go ahead and type in the words app location permissions. You're gonna type this in, all right? This is gonna show you it the fastest way possible. This is found under the main location settings. Now, once you're here, basically this section is where you give all the apps on your phone access to permission, give you permission to access your location. All right, that's how you should say it. Okay, so you'll go down the list here, and of course Google will always have access to your location here. So let's say you have a bunch of apps here now that's under this section here. All these apps are going to constantly be using the location permission. So if you don't want to, you can just go into the app itself and select don't allow. Okay, so once you do that, that's gonna don't allow it, and don't allow it anyway, okay? And you don't have nothing to worry about. You can always come back here and re-enable it for these apps that you have disabled it for. So you can go down the list now of every other app that's in the allow all the time section, or even only while in use, and you can disable those or re-enable them at any given time. And in fact, some apps, if you disable that, and you go back into the app and you are required to have your location permission enabled for that app, you will be prompted to re-enable it, okay? So this is also gonna reduce your battery from being drained, because if you're in an app that doesn't need to know your location at the moment and it's using that, that's using your battery life, right? So let's go ahead and move on to the next one. This one here is basically the auto sync data. So with this on enabled, if you have your mobile data on with no Wi-Fi at the moment, apps that will have that sync running in the background all the time will automatically sync once you are connected with your mobile data. So if you don't want your mobile data, using up the data and having the auto sync run in the background, draining that battery life of yours without you knowing, you want to disable this one here. And if you want to have it sync only using the Wi-Fi here, you want to turn this on here. So you'll need to enable this thing first, okay? And it's going to do the syncing for you here. And then you want to go ahead now and enable the Wi-Fi itself. And then once you disable the auto sync data here, now this means it will only use your Wi-Fi when you reach home and you reconnect to your Wi-Fi. It's going to continue with the syncing, okay? So if you don't want that constantly syncing in the background using your mobile data while you're out there and you're not with a charger, go ahead and turn that off, okay? And again, you can come back and re-enable these settings at any given time, okay? So let's move on to the next one. So this one here is rather on the interesting side. And for some of you, you probably might think of it as not doing much with your battery life, but what this feature does, it turns off your mobile data when your phone is in the lock screen mode, okay? So when your phone is in the lock screen state or mode, basically you can set within here the amount of time that the mobile data will be disabled. And you're wondering, how is that going to work in terms of battery saving? So basically, let's just say within a 5-minute period, your phone enters into the lock screen state. Okay, so it enters into the lock screen state, and then 5 minutes later, your mobile data for your phone is going to be disabled. So what that does, it stops all activity running that's using your mobile data, which in return prevents your battery life from being drained or used even though your phone is in a lock screen state. Okay, now some of us may not want to do this, but this is kind of like a last minute kind of option or last resort kind of thing to really reduce that battery usage. And of course, when you unlock your phone, your data will come back on, and if there was any notifications to be received at the moment will come in as your mobile data gets itself back here. And of course, you could just set it back to never to have it run normally. Okay, so this is just one of those features that you may want to think twice before using this. All right, now let's go ahead and move on to the next. This one here is a rather more of an in-depth option where you can go into every single app and change the background battery usage restrictions for that particular app. So I'll show you now how to get there. So let's just say there's an app that you know of that's just, constantly running, using up your data, your battery life. So you want to go ahead and find the app, long press the app like this. And when you do that, this is going to happen. You'll see this little pop-up menu here show up, and you'll see that circle with the eye. As you tap on that, that's going to take you into the app info section. Now, once you're in the app info section, you are going to look for the battery saver option. So this here, when you go there, you can change the background settings of that particular app. So your app will most likely be set to either the battery saver option or no restrictions. So if that app is on no restrictions, that's gonna just basically go all out in the background without you knowing. So if you wanna keep it kind of restricted, you can switch over to close apps after 10 minutes, which with this option, within 10 minutes after you have exit the app or not using the app, it's gonna stop the background activity. And if you want to completely stop it from running in the background, switch to the restrict background activity, okay? So you can always come back and re-enable this if you want to and switch it back to battery saver for that particular app. Let's move on to the next one. This one here usually just flies right under the radar, and most of us just don't even know it's actually using up our battery life. So it's a digital well-being, and basically that feature for the most part will keep track of your phone usage, your data, and the very fact that your phone has to constantly keep track of everything your phone is doing, that's also going to be using up some battery life there. So if you want to stop that from happening, you're really not into all of that fancy stuff, here's where you can go to disable this. So every Xiaomi phone has the digital well-being feature, and you want to go into the quick access here, tap on the settings option right there. Then within the main settings, you want to just go down until you see digital well-being and parental controls right here. As you tap on that here one time, you'll be taken to this section here. You're going to see those three dots right up there at the top right. So selecting that one time will take you right there to these set of options, and you'll go to where it says manage your data. Now, as you enter here, basically it's the option that disables your daily phone usage. So this is just keeping track of your data. So it includes info about your phone unlocks, notifications received, and app usage. So if you don't want your phone to constantly be keeping track of everything you do, which of course in return uses up your battery life, go ahead and disable this here. And you'll notice this will pop up here for you. You can turn that off again. And this is also going to show up there for you here. Okay, so when you are here now, you'll go to this section here, and you are going to disable the permission usage access, okay, or don't permit it to use your access. All right, now once you have closed that out here, and let's just say somewhere in the future you want to re-enable it again, here's how you can go about doing it. So in the future, if you want to re-enable this here, use the quick access once again, go to settings, then go all the way down to digital well-being right here once again. And from here, you will do the same thing again. You're going to tap on the three dots here, go to manage your data. When you turn this on, this is going to show up, and you'll tap on open settings. As you enter here once again, you're going back to the digital well-being option and simply permit usage access once again so that it can continue collecting your info, data, and everything that's being processed with all the apps, okay? So this is, for the most part, most of the features that you can go into without having to do anything fancy with your phone and reduce that battery usage, okay? But let's go ahead and do one more last one. So before getting to the very last ultimate last resort feature that you can do. You have the vibration settings, which I'll show you how to simply disable them, because just to use the vibration, your battery will need to be used. All right, so to find these features, here's where you can go. Simply use the quick access, go into the settings right there, and from here you'll see these options once again. Go down until you see sound and vibration. You'll see all these here, and you want to go down. You can just go down. If you don't want vibration for calls, you can turn that off, and haptic feedback, so disable that if you want to disable the vibration for these features here, okay? Another vibration setting you can check is the notification vibration. So you can go into an app itself, like Messages, long press it, go into the app info by tapping the circle with the eye, and from here you'll go down to the notifications section. And if you want to keep your notifications on, but you just don't want that vibration here, go down until you see vibration, and that'll disable the vibration, reducing that battery usage. And now, this time, the ultimate one. And this ultimate one, you don't have to do this, but if you're really like low on battery life and you just want to use that one single app until you reach home to recharge your phone, let's go ahead and do it. So for this ultimate last resort option here, you'll need to enable developer mode or developer options. Let's go ahead and do that. We'll use the quick access here once again. Go into the main settings. You'll want to go into About Phone, all right? And just excuse me, I had to look for that before entering into it. You'll see where it says OS version, which in some cases is also known as the build number. You're going to tap on that 7 times, okay? And as you reach the third one, you'll see how many more steps left to go. And finally, it'll tell you you're in developer now, okay? Now, if you want to find developer options or developer mode here, the fastest way once you have enabled it is using the search settings. So once you enable it, go to developer. You'll see the suggestion here. You'll tap on that one time and you will now be here. Make sure this is turned on. So once you're here now, what we're going to do is go down until we find the apps section. So you see how this says debugging right here? We're going to go down until we find the apps section. So we'll keep going down. We've got networking. It's really far down, by the way. So you'll keep going down. Input, drawing, hardware, media monitoring, and apps. Okay, so this is it right here. You'll see apps here and background process limit. So this is going to be kind of crazy, but when you tap here, you'll see all these different options show up for you. Switching to where it says at most one process, this basically means only one app will be processing at that very moment. So if you want that, that's going to stop everything from running in the background instantly and just have only one app running. You can set it to 2 if you feel like you got some good battery life left in there. And of course, that'll have one app running using up your battery life. Okay, so again, you can come back and disable these and also re-enable developer options if you need to, and switch it back to standard. Standard is the default setting. If you forgot, it would be the standard limit that's going to have everything running all the time in the background. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, once again, these features here, I know some of you might say something silly like I'll just turn off my phone and have my battery on for a long time and all that stuff here. Of course, you can do that if you want to. That's totally up to you. Also, just simply turning off your Wi-Fi, your mobile data, or airplane mode, turning off your Bluetooth at that very moment. That's also going to help you with reducing your battery usage at the time when you really need to. Okay, so yeah, and of course your brightness, reducing your brightness, that's also going to help you. If you have your always on display enabled, you can also use that. Disable that. That'll also help you with your battery life. Turning off notifications that appear on the lock screen, those will all help you on your Xiaomi phone or your Android phone. Okay, so if this guide helped you in any way, please do hit that like, sub, and thanks for watching.